I'm back. Hello. We don't need to talk about it, but I'm here. I turned 18 and I'm here to tell you 18 things that I learned before I turned 18. Oh, also, if you're new here, hi, I'm Zoe, and Monsieur Mouton is going to be joining us for today's video, so say hello. Okay, guys, I'm about to spit fire. Number 1, you can not like your friends, but still love and support them. I have friends that I love, but being around them makes me physically angry. Just the way that they are, it doesn't make you feel great and it doesn't make you feel good to hang out with them. And they make choices where you're like, bleh, and that's okay. And you can still be friends. And I know for me, it's hard for me to not be friends with people. I am very like black and white, like I need to fight and tell you, no, we are not friends, don't ever talk to me again. Or we need to be best friends. And that is something that I'm working on, is trying to be like in that gray area. And I have a little personal anecdote that helped me come up with this. So one of my friends wanted to start a YouTube channel, and so they talked to me and they were like, I've been thinking for a long time that I want to start a YouTube channel about such and such like this. And we had this long conversation. We had like a 2-hour conversation several times talking about like, oh, like here's a great way to start off your channel, like let's brainstorm some ideas. And because they were my friend, I was like, yes, like I love this for you, like let's go. And I love you as a friend, and I love this idea that you want to start a YouTube channel, and let's do it. And then one time we were hanging out in a group on Zoom, and I made this like joke around these friends who like I'm not really open about talking about my YouTube channel with, and I went like, ha ha ha, you're all subscribed, even though I knew like half of them didn't even know I did YouTube. And then everyone went, oh yeah, we know you do YouTube. And then my friend who wanted to start a YouTube channel goes, yeah, and we just can't support that. Still to this day, I don't really know what they meant by that. Like, I can't support that. You wanted to start your own YouTube channel. I don't understand. But that's one of the instances where it's like, okay, maybe you don't like my content. Maybe my content is not for you. That's okay. But you can still love and support me, So you can not like what your friends are doing, and that's totally fine, but you should still love and support them as much as you can. Number 2, ask yourself, how much can I tolerate being misunderstood? This is a quote that I recently heard in an Anna Akana video, and I think it perfectly encapsulates the dilemma of let's go girl versus you go girl. So pulling up our example from last time, I can say, let's go girl. I can tolerate being misunderstood, and like I'm still gonna help you make a YouTube channel even though you don't support me. Or I can say, you go girl, and say, no, actually, I cannot tolerate being misunderstood and feeling put down for my work, but expecting to still be your helper. So you go girl, you can do this, but I can't go. Number 3, it's not narcissistic to realize you are talented and valuable and to fight for it. Recently, I left a theater company. And I was talking to my family about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm really glad that I left this theater company because I have moved on. And it's not a reflection of the theater company. It's not saying that they're not talented or that I'm better than them, but I'm just saying I've learned everything I can learn in this moment, and it's time for me to move forward. And he was like, that is so narcissistic. You think that you're so much better than everybody else. Like, why don't they get to move on and leave you behind? But I think that learning that everybody is on their own journey, everybody's growing at their own pace, and that doesn't make somebody's growth more or less valuable than somebody else's growth. Everybody is valuable, and you have to realize that yourself is valuable, and that it is okay to say, you know what, no, I'm good, and I don't deserve to be treated this way, or you know what, I'm good and I've got everything that I need out of this situation, thank you so much, and I am ready to move forward and to learn something new and to go somewhere where I can be loved and supported in a new way. Number 4, you don't have to tell people you're growing. They'll just see it. You don't have to tell people like, look at me, I'm growing girl, I'm growing. You just have to do it. And this is something that I wrote down, and it's a little bit hard to explain, but I think that sometimes falling back on the sentiment of like, I'm growing, so it excuses my behavior. Like, that sounds way more sassy, but saying like, I'm growing, like I'm trying, just like leave me alone. I don't think we need to keep bringing up the fact that we're growing. I think we just need to grow. You know, I was watching a video about YouTuber apologies and why they're not successful, and it's because they do kind of stuff like that. They're like, I'm growing, hashtag I'm growing, guys, I'm growing. Like this commentary channel, they were saying, we would just rather see you grow and not see you say I'm growing. And I think that applies in real life too. Number 5, give what you are getting. This sounds a little pessimistic and it connects to point 1, but you are not being paid to be friends with your friends. Yeah, it's nice to be friends. It's nice to be friends, and it's nice to do things for other people, and it's nice to be there for people. And I don't know if this is like a personality type thing. I don't really like personality tests, but my personality type is I just like to go all the way for everybody all the time. And that's just not realistic. And this is what I wrote down. Friendships should be at least a 75 to 25% of giving and getting. So it's okay if you are giving more in a relationship, because sometimes the other person just can't give as much at that time, because we all go through, like, you know, where you can't give as much and you just need to receive. But if you are giving 100% and receiving nothing, then that is not a good relationship to be in. And this connects to tip number 6, which is your time is a currency. Your time is worth money. I learned this from my dad a long time ago. I bought a shirt at Forever 21 and they were having a student sale, and I didn't have my student ID because school hadn't started yet. And so when I got my student ID printed, I was like, I'm gonna go back to Forever 21 and I am gonna return that shirt and I am going to give them my student ID and I'm gonna buy it again and I'm gonna get the discount. And my dad was like, no, Zoe, that is so ridiculous. He's like, how long does it take you to drive to the mall? 15 minutes. How long does it take you to walk to Forever 21 in the mall? I don't know. We'll just say 15 minutes because it's easy. And then how long will it take you to return it? Think about the gas that you spent driving to the mall for 15 minutes and then driving home from the mall for 15 minutes. He's like, you just spent, like, I don't remember how much the real amount was, but I'm going to say 15 because we're on a roll with 15. $15 in your time and in your gas. Like, if you were your assistant, you would be paying yourself, let's say, $8 an hour. You just wasted so much money in your time going to return this shirt and buying it again. And your time has value. So that connects also to give what you are getting. If you continue to give your time to people who are not giving you the time of day and not giving you their time, it's like you're just like paying them and paying them and paying them and they're never paying you back. And so you want to look for relationships that can kind of be more on the same level. And like we said, the 75% to 25%. Not everybody is going to be able to give as much as you are giving all the time. People go on fluctuations, but just finding people who are more at your speed and who are going to be more available to give as much as you are giving, that is what you want to look for in a friend, a colleague, an associate. Number 8, people have different goals. Now this one seems obvious, but it is really awkward, weird, uncomfortable to hear that when we're setting 5-year goals in class, people in my class want to be married and have kids in 5 years. And to me, like, I feel like I just graduated 6th grade. I just left middle school and I am about to graduate high school, like, in actuality. And that is very weird for me to be like, oh, I know people who are like getting ready to get married in the next 5 years. But that's okay. I don't have to like their goal because it's not my goal. Number 8, ask for what you need. This one seems obvious, but this is like going outside of your box. I'm going to tell you a story now. So my brother is on a soccer team, and on his soccer team there is a dad who like is a theater teacher apparently. I'd never met him. I'd never been to like a practice for my brother's soccer where this guy was there, and I'd never met him before. I was like, I really don't know, like, what does he mean by he does theater? Like, everyone thinks they do theater. And when I started doing my college apps, my mom was like, you need to reach out to this Mr. Sir. He will help you. And I was like, I've never met him. Like, I've literally never even seen him in the street. I don't trust him, you know? And I finally did it, and I reached out to him and I said, hi, my name is Zoe. This is so awkward. Well, I didn't tell him that I felt awkward, but I reached out, and the whole time I was like, this is so uncomfortable. Like, what am I gonna do? And the first day that I met with him, he gave me like 15 monologue books and he helped me so much. And now he is helping me work through college and he's given me so much support and help. And all I had to do was ask for it. And he is an amazing teacher. And all I had to do was take that first step and ask for help, which is so difficult. Maybe we should call this tip Ask for Help. We're gonna rename it number 8, Ask for Help. This goes with my math teacher as well. My math teacher, I have the same math teacher I had freshman year. And freshman year, I was afraid to ask questions because I was in an honors math class and I didn't want to feel dumb. And I failed that math class. And this year, I am also failing my math class, but I'm asking for help, and I raise my hand almost every single time I have a question. And I'm 100% sure people know me as the, like, she's gonna ask the question so the rest of us don't have to, which is fine. And I go to after-school tutoring because it's available. And I use the resources that are available, and I ask for help. That is tip number 8. Tip number 9, use a planner and a journal. First of all, separating those two things and having two physical places to put your life and your ideas has been super helpful to me. This journal is almost completely full, and I haven't even had it for that long. And I use it to write, I use it to draw, I use it to do all different kinds of stuff, to take notes. And as a creative person who just like has random ideas all the time, having 500 little files on my phone in the notes app is just really not practical because I'm never going to open those again. But if I just have, like, what I'll do is I'll put the title of the day, and then I'll just write my little ideas, and then I'll put the title of the day and write my little ideas. And then if I am in a writing workshop or if I'm just looking for something to do, I can just look back through my journal and it's all in one place. And it's easy to collect my ideas and do what I need to do with them. And it really helps to keep me organized, and it's nice to have just a little place to doodle during class and keep everything together. And then my planner, obviously, we all know the purpose of a planner, but it is so nice to be able to write down my tasks and then cross them off. Like, that helps me manage what is in my mind so much. Number 10. Listen to the material. I know we all love to sit around and look at the material, but we need to listen to the material here. Usually your ideas know what they want to be. So my example is my homecoming video. I had this great idea to do a virtual homecoming. And yes, I'm gonna say great idea. I'm gonna give myself that and say yes, great idea. And I was watching a bunch of YouTube at that time. Obviously, we're all sitting around at home watching a bunch of YouTube. And I got in my head that I needed to make this cinematic experience, which I have experience in. I've made short films. I've worked in theater and in film a lot. So I have the know-how and I know how to do it. And I was like, I need to make this very aesthetic video, like aesthetic in all caps. And I shot the video with my friends and I got the footage back. And I felt like the footage I had was a comedy. It was so funny, and it just needed to be like a comedy lifestyle, ha ha ha, funny, quirky. But I had in my head stuck this idea that it had to be cinematic. And so I was trying to make it into this thing that it wasn't. And I wasn't listening to the material and listening to what the material wanted to be. And so I ended up putting out a vlog, a video that I was not happy with. And I had so much fun at the actual experience, which was really difficult for me. Like, I had so much fun, but I can't make a video that I feel like captures the way that I'm feeling. I feel so disappointed by this video, and I can't look at that video and say objectively whether or not it's good. Because there are parts of it where I'm like, yes, that's where it's being what it needs to be. It's being a comedy. But then I see other parts where I'm like, I'm just trying so hard, and I can feel that I was feeling that it wasn't working, but I had to keep going. So my tip number 10 is listen to the material. The material will tell you what it wants to be if you only pay attention and just follow the lead of what it wants to be. Number 11 relates to number 10, and it's look for dissonance. So dissonance was the feeling I was feeling when I was making it, and I was going the whole time, this is wrong, this is not correct. And it occurs when I wrote down here, dissonance occurs when your truth and the truth that you are living are not congruent. So I'm just gonna keep reading this. This is a #deep concept, and dissonance may occur for many reasons, but if you can more actively identify dissonance in your life, you can avoid it / correct it in the places that are possible. So, like that vlog. Girl, there was no reason that I needed to be feeling that much dissonance for an entire week while I edited that vlog. For no reason. There was literally no reason. And if I could have just listened to that and say, yes, I'm acknowledging that there's dissonance, I'm acknowledging that I wanted to make this artsy vlog, but really it wants to be a comedy, and I'm going to listen to the material and I'm going to make it a comedy because that's what it wants to be. So dissonance is the like listening to the material and then doing what the material wants you to do, instead of going off on your own way and feeling bad all the time. Number 12, just be who you are. So this is in the vein of dissonance, but just be who you are. Be authentic. This is something that we do in acting, is we follow our impulse. So you do what your body wants to do without your mind. And it is a way to get yourself outside of your comfort zone and do things you wouldn't usually do, because you don't have your mind controlling and saying like, no, I don't just dance in the street. Like, that's not what I do. You just follow the impulse and you just do it. And it's a way to get outside of your comfort zone while still being authentic and being who you are. And that is an essential of acting. And I think it is an essential that we can apply to our life. Even just, for example, like wearing clothes. Wearing clothes, you can step outside of the box and follow your impulse and say, I am feeling the impulse to wear this clothes, to wear this combination, to wear these tights today for no reason. But if you see something like a trend and you say, oh, everybody is dressing like, I'm just gonna use an e-girl because that's just something I thought of. Everyone's dressing like an e-girl. I feel like I need to be an e-girl, and I feel compulsed to be an e-girl by the internet. You're not following your impulse, and you're not being authentic, and you're not being yourself. So just be who you are, follow your impulse, but don't push yourself and feel compulsed by others to do what they want. Number 13, you already know what you're gonna do, you just have to let yourself do it. Sometimes I find that I have the most difficulty making a decision between two things because I already know what I wanna choose. But when I really think about it, the fear that is holding me back is the what if I get everything I wanted? What if I make the right decision and I get everything I wanted? Like, how am I gonna cope with saying, yes, I gave myself that happiness? And that is really a not healthy mindset. It is scary to entertain the possibility of getting everything you want. And it is scary to address, for me, that the root of my anxiety in certain situations is that I have to allow myself room to fail. This is the point. It's scary to commit to something all the way and say, yes, I committed. I am going to die on this hill. And then when you do, it's like there's no going back. You can't say, oh, well, I was just like partially committed, like, you know, I wasn't really in it. And I think that's why a lot of people hold themselves back from committing to people, committing to things, because they don't want to be that person who's like, yes, I put myself on this hill and I died for it and I cannot look back. We spend so much time feeling worried all the time and being like, I can't just, as we said in the point before, follow my impulse and do the thing that my body wants to do without my mind. But you gotta let yourself doing it. Don't do pre-heartbreak. That's what I wrote down here. Don't do pre-heartbreak where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just, it's not a possibility. I can't do it. Oh, it's just gonna all fall apart, so I'm just gonna feel sad now. You might as well go and get up on that hill and have fun for 2 seconds and then die, instead of standing at the bottom of the hill and dying because you're thinking about the possibility of being on the hill and dying, if you know what I mean. I think we can all save ourselves from a copious amount of heartbreak if we just let ourselves do what we already know we're gonna do. Number 14, it is okay to be small. It is okay to be small in height. It's okay to be small in the amount of followers you have, the amount of friends you have. It's okay to be small, period. This one is not something we have to overanalyze. I think it's just something that we have to think about. It's okay to be small. Small is valuable. Number 15, representation actually does matter. I'm about to go on a tangent about Miss Saigon. For those of you who don't know, it's a pop opera, meaning that it's like written in the pop age, like it's kind of newish. It has newish feeling music, but most of it is the music. There's not a lot of dialogue. It's mostly singing, or like singing that is underscored. It's based on the opera Madame Butterfly by Puccini, and I've really been into the history of this, and this is where this point is going. I've been researching a lot of the history of where the story began, like the older versions, the original opera, the productions, how it came to Broadway and how it came to the United States. But it's a tragedy, and in the Miss Saigon version, it is set in the Vietnam War with basically a couple, an interracial couple. The woman is Vietnamese and the man is an American soldier. And the lead, her name is Kim. She is played by Lea Salonga, who also played Jasmine, the Disney princess, and Mulan, the Disney princess, and she is Filipino, which I am also Filipino. I am half Filipino, half American, so I'm like basically Tam, for those of you who have seen the show. That's her son. And they have a line where they go, "Look at his western nose." So, look at her western nose. Miss Saigon is one of the only mainstream musicals that features an Asian lead. And for me, it's even more poignant because she is Filipino. And while I have some things to say about the content of the show, seeing Lea Salonga as Kim was extremely inspiring. However, this is where it takes a dramatic turn. When I was reading about the production online, and I read that the original engineer, so the engineer is like the Asian male lead. He's not the romantic lead, but he is an older Asian man who has a song called The American Dream, where he's literally like one of those people who idealizes what it means to be American, and that's kind of his role in the show. The original engineer was played by a man in yellowface. And I kid you not, I read that and I heard this.
There's no doubt that Jonathan Pryce was one of the great reasons Miss Saigon became a worldwide success. His performance was quite extraordinary. And because of what he did with the original show, we were subsequently able to find Asian performers to actually play the role in their own brilliant way.
And I cried. I literally was sitting in my bedroom reading on my computer, and I just cried because I was so hurt and offended by Mr. Sir and his prosthetic yellow face. And I know that talking about racial representation in media right now is like a hot topic because a lot of people don't like the idea of there being a racial quota. But my motto is that everybody deserves to see themselves represented in media. And one, we should not be doing this kind of stuff anymore. If you are doing any kind of face that is not your face, don't do it. Everyone deserves to see themselves represented respectfully in TV, on stage, on movies. Number 16. We are only becoming more free, so don't hold yourself back with who you used to be. Bars. I'm just really dropping bars here. Well, this quotation was inspired by another Anna Akana video where she was talking about, somebody asked her, she's Asian American, by the way, if you don't know her. Somebody was asking her, if you could time travel to any time period, where would you go and what would you do? And the thesis of the video was that I wouldn't go anywhere because as an Asian American woman, and for her also a person of the LGBTQ plus community, there has never been a time where we have more freedoms. I think that ties in with the last point because she's also an actress, so it's we are in a time where we don't have to see people doing yellowface on Broadway anymore, and that is super empowering. So let's keep moving forward and trying to make things better. But I think we can also relate this to a personal standpoint, and you don't have to always have those ideas in your head the old me wouldn't do this, or the old me used to act like this, and she was better. But we don't need to hold ourselves back with that idea. We are continuing to move forward in time, in history, so we are literally becoming more free, and we are also trying to work on accepting ourselves for who we are. So don't hold yourself back with being I used to be like this. Just move forward and be who you are. Everything ties together here. Number 17, stop waiting for everything to stop changing. This realization struck me in my hair. In my hair, girl. I realized it because of hair. I realized that I was sitting around as an actor waiting for that time when I'll just have my iconic face. And that's my iconic face, and my face always looks like that, and I just kind of always look the same. And what made me think of it was hair. Your hair just kind of is this length, and it is that way, and everybody knows you for having short hair or for having long hair, but your hair is always growing, no matter what age you are. So maybe you do reach that age where oh, I'm from 20 to 30, I look the same. So for 10 years, I looked exactly the same. But your hair is always growing. which means you are always changing and you are always a different person. So you don't have to sit around and wait for like, okay, when I get to this age or this stage, everything is going to be the same and it's going to stop changing and it's going to stop growing. And then I will be able to have a grasp and understand what is going on. And then I can address things and I can do things because I won't have to worry about other things outside of my control continuing to change. But you cannot stop your hair from growing, which means you cannot stop yourself from growing either. So you don't need to sit around and wait for that. As Queen Tiffany Ferg said, I wrote this down, any age is a good age. So just start whatever you're doing because any age is a good age, period. Thank you. Any age is a good age to start doing whatever you want to do. Don't keep waiting for things to stop changing, for you to be in the right place. Hashtag swoop, just do it. And finally, number 18. Take a deep breath. Let's do it right now. Reach out to your friends. They probably don't hate you. I think rejection is something we all struggle with. And I've talked about this before, but like I just have so much fear reaching out to my friends because what if they say no? What if I say, hey, do you want to talk on the phone right now? Hey, do you want to FaceTime? Or if I just text them like a hello text and they don't text me back and they just completely ignore me and they say, no, I don't want to hang out with you. But the reality is your friends probably don't hate you. And even if they say no, which has happened, my brain instantly spirals and goes, they hate me. I should never talk to them again. I should delete them from my contacts. I should forget about them forever. But people are busy. Surprise. But we all have a support system that we should use, we can use, we should remember that we have. Ooh, I have a little plant metaphor. It may not make sense, but I'm going to read it to you. Our relationships are like plants. You have to nurture and take care of them. You have to water them. You have to give them space. Or sometimes you just have to let them die. I wrote in a metaphorical plant way. That's where I think the metaphor went downhill. But the people/plants that stay in your life are there because they love you. So don't have the fear of rejection from being with them. Yeah, that plant metaphor really did go downhill quickly. I think I had my heart in the right place when I was trying to write that. But it's like plants need different things. And your relationships are like plants. Sometimes your plant is like a water-hungry plant, and sometimes your relationship is like a succulent, and you can only water it every now and then. But you have to keep taking care of those relationships or else they're going to wither up and they're going to die. And that's unfortunate sometimes. Oh, now I remember why I said you need to let it die. If it's not working, sometimes you have to just let it die and just walk away. But otherwise, keep reaching out to your friends, even if they say no, they're probably busy, and connecting to the tip before, give what you are getting. Hopefully they will reach out back to you and it'll be like a little happy circle of continuing to reach out to each other. And even if you play phone tag, you're still thinking of each other and trying to put in that effort to your relationship. And sooner or later, you will meet back up again together on Zoom or in person, and you will give an emotional hug and everything will be okay. On that note, that is the end of 18 things I learned before turning 18. I hope that you learned some things before you turn 18, or you learned some things when you did. And if not, I hope you liked some of the things that I shared in this thing. Subscribe, give this video a like. You gotta please the sheep. Comment. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this moment. Namaste. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Okay, goodbye.